What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raise. Riverdale Season 4 is coming this autumn, and fans have already made up a lot of theories to what might happen in the fourth season. Before we start the video, we just want to clarify that this is just theories and not everything is confirmed information. Jumping straight to the first theory. The first theory speculates around where the farm went after they supposedly ascended. After they ascended, they left their clothes in piles around Kevin, creating the illusion of them disappearing into thin air. But we know better than that. Earlier in the episode, Alice Cooper, Betty's mom, told Cheryl that Edgar reopened the tunnels leading out to the forest. We strongly believe that he did this so he could bring out all his farm members without using the front door. By doing this, he avoids being seen by someone and therefore eliminates the risk of someone telling the authorities where they went. If they didn't ascend for real, why did they leave Kevin behind? Kevin was most likely left behind because they had already taken his kidney, and therefore Edgar didn't need him anymore. The ones he took will be moved and sold piece by piece until he has no followers left. When Edgar and Evelyn have sold all body parts, they will be able to move to a new town and start all over again, just like they've done many times before. We just pray that Alice and the other farm members will be saved in time before they wake up in Fox Forest with some missing organs. In the end of Season 3, we finally got to meet Betty's real brother Charles. Charles has been working together with his mother Alice in order to get Edgar Evernever behind bars. Well, we see how that worked out.
Where the hell have you been?
Now when Betty and Jughead share a half-brother, we have a feeling that Bughead won't last for that long. Just imagine sharing a brother with your girlfriend. Wouldn't that be extremely weird?
It's not as weird as it looks.
Still weird.
Knowing Betty and Jughead, they will most likely end their relationship, but find their way back to each other again. Their love has been proven extremely strong both on and off screen. However, in an interview, director Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa revealed that Charles has a lot of secrets as well. This leads us to believe that the flash-forward scene during spring break had something to do with Charles. Maybe did Jughead, Betty, Veronica, and Archie kill Charles for some unknown reason? That could explain why they were so scared of getting caught. I mean, if you kill an FBI agent, you will most definitely get punished hard. The second scenario could be that Betty killed someone protecting Charles, and Betty, together with her friends, then hid the body and burned all evidence, including their clothes. We are so excited to get to know Charles more and find out more about his past. What happened to him after Alice gave him away for adoption, and how did they find each other again? This is a question we hope that we get the answers to in the upcoming season. Something we know for sure is that Fred Andrews won't be a part of Riverdale anymore, since the actor playing Fred, Luke Perry, sadly passed away earlier this year. We know that he won't be a part of this season, but how will he disappear in the show? Surely they have to do something. They won't be able to just pretend Archie's dad is still alive without showing him once. Since there is a lot of deaths in Riverdale, we believe that they won't make Fred die, but rather make him travel somewhere. That would explain why we won't see him anymore, but where could he possibly travel? Our guess is that he received a big work offer in another city or even another country, and since Fred's business hasn't worked out that well lately, he has to take the offer. He wouldn't just leave Archie, however, and therefore he asks his ex-wife, aka Archie's mother, to move into their house and live with Archie instead of him. Archie is upset about this, but what could he possibly do? He knows how badly they need the money, and this is an opportunity his dad has to take. We hope that Archie will be able to live with his mother without missing his dad too much. After all, Archie has a great connection with his mother, so it should not be a problem that his dad leaves him for a few months. The death of actor Luke Perry was very unfortunate, but we can just make the best out of it and try to remember him for the great actor he was. We will make a video focusing on Luke Perry's death later on, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. Next up, we have a theory surrounding Hiram Lodge's revenge plan against Veronica. In the end of Season 3, we saw that Hiram had been sent to his own prison, where he has a lot of influence, to say the least. From the prison, Hiram executed his plan to get his wife Hermione Lodge arrested. This wasn't something that was hard to do, since Hermione actually was guilty of multiple crimes, such as the murder attempt on Hiram. All Hiram had to do was plant some evidence and then give the authorities an anonymous tip where to find the evidence. After the guards delivered the news about Hermione's arrest, Hiram smiles and says to himself, "Veronica, you don't even know what's coming, Mia."
Veronica, you don't even know what's coming, Mia.
We now know for sure that Hiram is planning to revenge Veronica's betrayal, but the question remains, what will he do? Before Hermione was arrested, she was talking on the phone saying, I quote, "How could he have been hiding this from me?" Before she reveals what she's referring to, the door is kicked down and she is arrested.
You're sure? How could he have hid this from me? Veronica, what? That was our attorney. What was Daddy hiding?
The information she received is most likely connected to Hiram's revenge plan. Our theory suggests that Hiram's secret was that he had a second company operating close to Riverdale. The company is a cover for yet another drug corporation, and therefore he has no trouble getting the amount of money he could need to do whatever he wants. His revenge plan contains his own escape plan, which won't be hard to arrange considering that he owns the prison and the guards work for him. When he escapes, he will bring a few criminals with him, and amongst the criminals he brings with him is Chick, who also was sent to Hiram's prison after he was arrested. While outside the prison, he will be able to frame Veronica for killing Chick, since he will get Veronica in a position where she has no choice but to kill Chick. This will lead to Veronica going to prison, his prison. If this doesn't work, it's still not over, since Hiram can arrange a bunch of attacks on Veronica when he's outside the prison, gaining money from his secret drug corporation. There is a lot of different things Hiram could do to revenge on Veronica, but we will just have to wait and see which path he chose to take. We're going to take a look at the possibility of Jughead and Betty having a baby in Riverdale Season 4. Jughead and Betty have built up a very strong relationship throughout their time together, and the possibility of them starting a family together is very big. But the question is, if it makes sense that they have a child at their age. Well, it's not very common, but when you think about it, both Betty's mother and sister had a baby at her age, so why couldn't she have a child as well? We strongly believe that after Jughead and Betty, together with Archie and Veronica, have finished the farm and Hiram Lodge, they will be able to take it slow for once and just spend time together. When they no longer have to solve crimes and watch each other's backs from potential threats, they will have the time they need to take care of a baby. When Polly and Alice Cooper have been saved from the farm, they will be able to help Betty with her baby. I would really like to see Betty and Polly raise their children together and see their relationship grow strong again, since it hasn't been good between the two of them for a very long time. Jughead's family won't be able to provide as much help as Betty's family, but we're sure that Jughead's dad would volunteer if they ever needed help. Something else I also would like to see is Jughead's sister and mother moving back to Riverdale and see Jughead's baby.
Jughead?
Jelly bean?
Thought I smelled something rotten. Oh, Jug.
There are so many broken relationships that could be fixed with the help of a child, since the birth of a child would bring everyone together. We believe that both Jughead and Betty would like to get their own place, but in order to get their own apartment, they have to start working, at least one of them. Jughead start working with his dad as a crime scene investigator for the police because, let's be honest, you won't find someone better than Jughead when it comes to solving crimes. When it comes to Betty, we're not sure what she would like to work with. We do, however, have a few suggestions to what she might work with. The first job she could be taking is a job at Pop's. That way she can be around Veronica, and if she has to stay home with the baby, or even take the baby with her to work, Veronica will understand and support her. The second possibility is that Betty will take over her parents' newspaper, and I personally feel like this is the most likely scenario. When it comes to the baby's gender, we have no idea if it's going to be a boy or a girl. Comment down below what you think. After the baby has been born, they will, of course, have to host a baby shower, probably set up with the help of Veronica.
Shower? Are you sure that's a good idea? You know,
It is.
It's a great idea. What about Mom and Dad?
Well, what do you want, honey? I mean, do you want them to come?
I do. I mean, Mom at least.
During the baby shower, Veronica will give the lucky parents an apartment which she bought with money from her business. It's also during the baby shower that Alice Cooper, Betty's mom, will give Betty the newspaper company. At this point, Jughead, Betty, and their baby will have everything they need to start a new life together. The last question we have to figure out is if Jughead and Betty will be good parents or not. When you think about it, they haven't had especially good role models for how to be a good parent. This could lead to two very different parenting styles. Either they will be great parents and do everything they can to raise their child the right way. The second way could be that they become bad parents because they don't know how to raise a child the right way because they never were. However, this is a very unlikely scenario, and we're pretty sure that they would be great parents. Jughead was mostly raised by his dad because his mother moved together with his younger sister when he was very young. I almost wouldn't say that FP raised Jughead because most of the time he didn't help his son with anything. I mean, honestly, they didn't even live together. Jughead was basically homeless during his worst time in life.
How long?
Well, since they shut down the drive-in. That's where I was living before.
Why the hell are you not living at home?
Truth is, things aren't good at home.
With your dad?
Yeah. He kind of fell off the wagon.
Luckily, FP got his shit together and managed to turn his life around.
I'm gonna get your mom and Jelly Bean home so we're all under the same roof. I promise. But I just need a little time to do that. Not a lot.
And when you look at who he has become, we can confidently say that he is the kind of dad you want. He's not rich and can't give Jughead everything in life, but he would, without a doubt, sacrifice his life for Jughead. Betty, on the other hand, had a very different journey when it comes to her childhood and her parents. Betty had a good childhood and lived in a happy family. This, however, started to change when Betty's older sister, Polly, started dating Jason Blossom, and the Coopers strongly disliked the Blossoms. The reason behind their hate was the fact that Hal Cooper's grandpa was a Blossom. His grandpa was then betrayed and killed by his brother. After that, the Blossom family split up, and the other half of the family changed their name into Cooper because they didn't want to be associated with the Blossoms. It was hard for Betty to understand why her parents sent Polly away to a special treatment home, and she wasn't happy when she found out the real reason. Polly was pregnant with the now dead Jason Blossom's child, and this did not sit well with Betty's dad. At this point, Hal Cooper is starting to show his true colors, and he's thrown out of the house by Betty and his wife Alice. From there on, we can see a big change in the Cooper family, and the happy family that used to be there is no longer. Betty's dad turns into a crazy killer, going under the nickname the Black Hood.
Who am I, Betty? Say it. Say who I am. You're the Black Hood.
Her father running around and killing her friends is something that surely is going to haunt her for the rest of her life. Not only did her dad turn into a serial killer, but both her mother and sister joined the farm, which turns out to be a very sinister cult.
You don't just meet Edgar.
There are certain levels that you need to attain before meeting Edgar. First, you start by meeting a few farmies.
This leaves Betty with no parents left to help and support her. Fortunately, she had her friends, and Jughead supported Betty through her hard times, just like Betty supported him. Now, after season 3, we know that Alice did what she did in order to save Polly. But you think that she should at least tell Betty what was going on. I mean, Betty thought she lost her mother, sister, and dad all at once. As we said earlier, this is a chance for Betty and Jughead to raise their child better than their parents raised them, and provide it with all the support a child needs. Knowing what they've gone through themselves, we're sure that they will be strict parents. They're not the kind of parents that allow their child to do whatever it wants, and they might even be a bit overprotective. That's usually the natural response when you know how dark the world really is. They will be strict, but they will love their child like nothing else. Bughead fans will see how the two turn into parents, and later on in the show, maybe getting married. That's something I would like to see. There is no secret that there are many deaths in Riverdale, and we feel like it's about time they start to introduce new characters that will bring more life to the show. With Charles introducing himself in season 3,
yes, it's no coincidence that your mother and I found each other. You see, I'm Charles, your brother.
And the possibility of a baby in season 4, we can see how the cast is growing again. We are confident that they will get introduced to more characters in season 4 because the deaths are not going to stop anytime soon. We would love to know your opinion on this theory. Will they be good or bad parents? Will they be strict or not? Tell us in the comments down below. We're going to take a look at the possibility of Veronica and Betty being more than just friends. Betty Cooper's and Veronica Lodge's relationship, commonly referred to as Veronica among fans, is better than it has ever been. Betty and Veronica have a strong relationship to each other, but this wasn't always the case. At first, Veronica came to Riverdale without knowing anyone, and who was there to take her in if not our friendly girl next door, Betty Cooper. Right from the start, Veronica noticed that Betty showed a lot of feelings for Archie Andrews, so
Hi, Teen Outlander.
Hey.
So it was clear for Veronica that he was off limits. Even though Veronica knew that Betty liked Archie, Veronica kissed him during Cheryl's after-party, thus bringing an end to the brief friendship, which quickly turned to somewhat of a rivalry over the affections of Archie Andrews. However, the girls eventually resolved these issues, making their relationship better than ever. No matter what comes their way, Betty and Veronica have proven a number of times that they are willing to do anything in the name of their relationship. The two even made a vow in one of the episodes, saying that no matter what, no boy will ever come between us again. Later on, when they went to try out for cheerleading together, Cheryl told them that they had to perform a dance to show how skilled they were. They did as Cheryl said, and even though their performance was great, she told them that she couldn't see any heat. A quick thinking Veronica saved the situation by telling Betty not to freak out and then kissing her for a good 5 seconds. If you're able to do that to someone you recently became friends with, you at least have to find your friend very attractive. Betty seemed a bit surprised by Veronica's kiss, but she also looked like she enjoyed it. The big question we have is, did they ever feel like exploring their feelings for each other on a deeper level? Or did they just keep it as a funny thing that happened and then left it unexplored? We don't think so. Riverdale is filled with a lot of gay as well as bisexual characters, from the lesbian power couple Toni Topaz and Cheryl Blossom to Kevin Keller and Moose. Since Veronica has true feelings for Archie, and Betty has shown Jughead that she loves him with all of her heart, they could only be bisexual, meaning that they can be attracted men and women. Ever since Betty and Veronica kissed, fans have speculated that they might have more feelings that they're trying to hide. We don't believe that Betty and Veronica are going to end up as a couple, but we strongly believe that they might have one or maybe a few affairs with each other behind their boyfriend's back, of course. One seemingly normal day, Betty walked down to Pop's to drink her strawberry milkshake as usual, and also to get some time with her best friend, Veronica Lodge. When she arrived at Pop's, no one is there, and she calls out for Veronica. Veronica answers that she's downstairs, with a shaky tone to her voice. When Betty finally gets downstairs, she finds Veronica sitting in the bar drinking and crying hysterically. Betty takes Veronica's drink and pours it out on the floor, and then proceeds to hug her, asking her to calm down and to explain what's wrong. After a few seconds with Betty, Veronica says, "He escaped. Daddy's coming for me, and I'm afraid he's going to hurt Archie." Archie. Betty quickly connects the dots and understands that Veronica's father, Hiram Lodge, is once again a free man. And since Veronica got him locked up, he's going to take out his revenge on her. Betty only took her hands off Veronica for a few seconds, but that was enough to make Veronica freak out again. And when Betty's commands to calm down doesn't work, she leaned forward and kissed Veronica. At first, Veronica had a very surprised look on her face, but she quickly closes her eyes and starts to kiss Betty. The two allow their feelings to come through, and afterwards, they're just sitting in the bar next to each other, not saying a word. That is, until they hear Archie and Jughead upstairs, shouting their names and telling them that someone is in trouble and that they have to go now. Veronica puts her fingers to her mouth, thus telling Betty to not tell anyone about what just happened. Betty nods, and they run upstairs to Jughead and Archie. What do you think? Are they going to get another moment in Season 4, or will they just stay friends? As we said, we believe that they will at least have a kissing scene, but we don't see them getting together. That would be a bit over the top, because where would that leave Jughead and Archie? The last theory we're going to take a look at is the theory that Betty, Archie, and Veronica killed Jughead. At first, this theory sounds very unlikely because of the strong friendship they have. But when you start looking into it more, it makes sense. This theory suggests that Jughead and his friends managed to find Edgar Evernever and kill him. When Jughead gets cold feet and wants to turn them into the police and his dad, they start fighting. Archie takes the lead since he's the one who most likely delivered the fatal blow that killed Edgar and therefore will be most responsible for his death. Archie is trying to calm down a very upset Jughead, and while the girls are almost as upset as Jughead, they understand that they can't go to the police since that would give Archie a life sentence in jail. When Jughead doesn't listen to Archie's advice to calm down and to not go to the police, Jughead tries to walk away, but Archie pushes him back in order to prevent him from leaving. The push didn't just keep him back, however, since it also made Jughead trip and hit his head against a rock, killing him. This leaves them with both Edgar's and Jughead's bodies to get rid of, and they decide that the best way to do so is by burning them together with all their clothes, since they're covered in blood which could connect them to the crime scene. The last thing to burn is Jughead's iconic beanie, and Archie hesitates before throwing it into the fire. They then promise each other to never talk about what happened ever again. After burning all evidence against them, they all head home, carrying their new secret. The following day, F.P. Jones, Jughead's dad, pays everyone a visit, asking if they know where Jughead is, since he never showed up the night before. FP isn't that worried and probably thinks that Jughead is hanging around somewhere, and he will show up in 1 or 2 days. But after day pass by, he gets increasingly worried that something could have happened to Jughead. He, together with the law enforcement, search everywhere for Jughead, and the amount of volunteers to search for Jughead is many. Amongst the volunteers is also our group of killers, Betty, Veronica, and Archie. In order to not look guilty, they attend the search for Jughead, and they volunteer to search the area where they burned Jughead's body so that no one else could find it. This theory is very popular amongst Riverdale fans, even though most of us wish that Jughead will end up being alright and not dead. As we said earlier, this isn't the most likely scenario, but it's still a possibility. With that said, if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Also, don't forget to comment what you think will happen in Riverdale Season 4.